It's Dr. Olysha. Sorry I'm late.
Oh my goodness, Dr. Renee.
They had the lavender latte, and I was just having to try to get the last of it because they only have it during the Easter and spring season. So I was just like, I'm going to commit to completing this fun challenge and keep the party going. And I was like, I'm going to get this lavender latte, and I'm not going to feel guilty about it.
Nice. Good
So
for you.
definitely delicious. I'm very happy.
Lavender latte, huh?
It's
Never
really,
heard of
really
that
good.
before.
Oh, really? Oh my goodness. Yes, it's very good. I actually got this one from Wegmans.
Hmm.
And I love food trucks. It's not food truck season where we live in Maryland, but they had it at Wegmans, usually like during the beginning of like the spring Lent season. And then it was the last day was over. So of course I rushed down to go get it. I don't want to say that I came, before. I'll tell you about that later, my other part of the thing. But I was like rushing, I was rushing to go get it. I was like, I'm not even going to count the calories. I'm going to get it
Ah,
before it runs out and before the season is over. And it's delicious.
cool. Well, I do not have a lavender latte in front of me. I just have water. But I do want to jump off with our discussion today to talk about our fun challenge that we had. I think it's kind of funny that it took us some time to get here.
Yes, I thought that about that too. And I was like, wow, it's so much easier for us to have research heavy podcast episodes. But as soon as it comes to us giving us a fun challenge, it was like, okay, well, give me another week to do it. Give me another week to do it. So I think that's very telling of not only what we do, but how we can also help other people who are so busy focusing on being productive, they don't have a higher quality of life. So we
Hmm.
looking forward to that discussion.
Yes, yes. So I thought today what we could do, if you're cool with it, is I'll just start
Mm-hmm.
off with a little bit of a definition and
Okay.
some info I found about, why it's challenging to have fun and why it was our fun challenge was challenging.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And then we'll hope, and then you can share about, some of the challenges that psychologically we face and
Mm-hmm.
expand on that a
Mm-hmm.
little bit. And then we can
Okay.
share our experiences. Does that sound good?
Okay. That sounds good to me.
All right. So, first of all, if we think about the term fun, usually we think of things like enjoyment or amusement, lighthearted pleasure. And I actually found that definition online. But
Okay.
there are, especially it seems to me like, at least personally for me, it seems like every day there's some kind of bad news and something
Yeah.
happening that's like makes it harder to even feel motivated to even want to have fun. So
Mm-hmm.
I was thinking of some of those things like, the pandemic and just the anxiety and fear, and, maybe less so now because it seems like, we're in a better place this year than we were in the past couple of years. But
Right.
there's like survivor's guilt, uncertainty,
Mm-hmm.
things like that. But more recently, we have the war in Ukraine, and there's a lot of helplessness. And for me, at least, it's been shocking to watch what's been going on there.
Yeah.
Um, and just, yeah, I just feel terrible for the people in that country and what's
I
happening.
know.
And, connected to that is politics. There's a lot of fear and uncertainty. There's a lot of change all the time, especially if you live in a place like I do,
Mm-hmm.
where every day there's some kind of bad thing coming out, directly attacking people that, I personally love and am friends with. So, with all of these things, to think about fun as a priority seems almost, uh,
Like selfish and
yeah,
irresponsible.
yeah, or
Right.
like, yeah, exactly. Those are perfect terms.
Mm-hmm.
So when I was like reading about fun, there's this author, Catherine Price. She actually wrote a book that I read a while back called How to Break Up with Your Phone.
Oh, okay.
I highly recommend it. It's because of that, I deleted Facebook from my phone app. So the only way I can access Facebook is if I go onto a browser.
What was she
Um,
saying about it? What
just
did she say about it?
I don't remember, to be honest,
Oh,
but
okay.
I just remember the impact it had, which was like basically
Mm.
I mean, I think the research has been showing that
Mm-hmm.
being on your phone all the time, being on social media is actually really bad for your mental health.
Very true.
So I think the premise is around that and like how to like slowly wean yourself off of those
Mm-hmm.
things. But I have to tell you, getting off of social media was so amazing for me.
Oh, good, good, good.
Yeah, it didn't suck all my time away. I am a little bit back into the social media mode again because of the campaign and
Yes.
you know, but and I find myself like looking at my phone a ton, and my poor kid is like, "Mom," you know.
Right.
Um,
Oh.
but anyway, so I digress. But
Mm-hmm.
so she wrote a book also called The Power of Fun: How to Feel Alive Again. So she's a science journalist. She's not a psychologist. So
Mm-hmm.
I'll let you take care of the psychology part. But I did think
Mm-hmm.
she had some good things to mention.
Mm-hmm.
She basically says that true fun happens when we have three states of mind. The first one is playfulness or lightheartedness. Um, and I think of if the best example of that would be a dog playing with a toy or
Oh,
chasing,
yeah.
like there's like this innocent
Yeah.
playfulness that they have, like everything in the world is gone except for the ball and you.
Yeah.
Um, and then connection is the second state of mind. So feeling connected, and having a special bond with another person. And the third thing that she mentions is flow. So the state of being fully engaged and focused,
Mm-hmm.
so much so that you lose track of time. And I just want to make clear this is not binge watching Netflix or social media scrolling, because those are, according to her, junk flow. And I think you're going to talk a little bit more about flow.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But they can actually make anxiety and depression worse, which is also the premise of her other book. Um, but I think about that flow piece as being like, if you got a piece of paper and some
Mm-hmm.
pens and you're drawing, if you like to do drawing stuff,
Mm-hmm.
like when I'm doing that, oh no, a whole hour has gone by. Didn't even
That's
notice.
right. Yeah. Yeah. I
So I wanted.
actually,
Oh, go ahead.
go ahead.
I,
Yeah, when
I
I
just.
didn't, go ahead.
Oh,
I'll let you,
you
I'll
go. No,
let you go
you
ahead.
go.
I'll let you go.
No, I was just gonna say that's about all I was gonna mention in the beginning part of this. So
Mm-hmm.
it's all
Okay.
you.
Okay. Yeah, for as far as flow, I definitely can attest to that because I did research for my dissertation and it was identifying the key variables of happiness and how to increase happiness. And the experience of flow is a main component of that. And you're right, it's being so involved in something that's enjoyable and not stressful that you do lose track of time because you are just completely immersed in it, like you're fully attentive to it. And for any of our listeners, this is a little side experiment that you can also do. It's no secret that I love chocolate and have a very, strong sweet tooth. So I would
Mm-hmm.
encourage you to get a good piece of high quality chocolate, or even if you went to get like a piece of a demi-tasse, a little square of Godiva chocolate, get a piece of chocolate, make sure it's at room temperature. And then you can sit in your car and all the noise sound out, and then you just put the piece of chocolate into your mouth and you just let it melt naturally with your body temperature and the chocolate at room temperature. And when you're having that experience, then you just experience, wow, what does it taste like truly enjoying what it tastes like rather than just chewing it and getting it through. And so that experience of being completely in the flow is also the experience of fully allowing all of your senses, or as many senses as possible, to be in the moment with what it is that you are enjoying. And so it could be art. When people have runner's high, that might be something. It could be even if you're doing something that's very laborious, like gardening or lifting weights, but you're so focused in it that everything else that's around you is cut out. So that'll be a short experience and a short example of how you can experience your own flow and then recognize, like, well, you know what? I want to actually do this a whole lot more. And if you are trying to lose weight, that's one of the best ways to still have all of the foods that you enjoy, but have a smaller portion of them, because then you can thoroughly enjoy them without having to sacrifice it, because you're taking the time to be slower about it, to not just making sure you're chewing 30 times, but you just actually enjoy what it feels, what it tastes like, where the salty part is, where the sweet part is. It helps you to better enjoy it. And then you have the signals of satiation and pleasure having enough time to go to your brain to let you know that, oh, wow, this was really good and we have really enjoyed it, versus you're still eating to try to feel a sense of enjoyment out of it. And also versus running your body out of time and your mind doesn't get a chance to register that your stomach is actually full. So a few little tidbits just to start
Nice.
off. Mm-hmm.
Good tidbits.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. As I drink my lavender latte.
I was going to say, though, about the chocolate, if you're sitting in a car with chocolate in Florida,
Oh, yeah,
might
yeah,
not be a great idea.
yeah.
You might want to turn the AC on before you savor the
Yeah.
flavor.
Yeah. Or just if you have it at the mall, just go sit down in the food court and then just sit and enjoy it and people watch or something, but just completely enjoying it,
Yes, yes.
not eating it while you're rushing. Well, one of the challenges like we had for we having, the topic today is the fun challenge, also the fun challenge, the challenge to having fun is like you mentioned with the pandemic and having COVID. One of the things that people have realized is that being forced to be quarantined also forced people to reevaluate their amount of life satisfaction. And the reason why there is a subsequent great termination or refusal to return to the workplace is because people are recognizing that I actually had a more enjoyable life or a more peaceful life. And although it was extremely worldwide fearful because of pandemic, the threat of death and loss, but I actually was able to have more time to just wake up feeling refreshed. I was able to eat healthier. I was able to enjoy my hobbies or enjoy the things that I enjoyed a whole lot more, or to get back to hobbies or to start new hobbies. And so that part of having fun is one of the great benefits of the pandemic. And so being forced to return to work or having to try to go back to that is something that a lot of people are not really comfortable with doing. And I think that that's a great thing to be applauded for, because it makes you say, okay, I'm putting a line in the sand and I'm going to choose what actually can not only have life satisfaction, but also more enjoyment in life. And I might also want to focus on, okay, well, if I have to have a job to make money, or if I'm going to have a career or my own business, let me refocus and let me restart in ways that I'm going to be able to experience the flow, meaning the continued enjoyment and the pleasure of it, and being able to do it in a way that's also aligned with my purpose or how I can feel my life has the most meaning. And so I think that part of having fun, it can be a challenge if you're so busy working, 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 that your life does not allow you to have moments of self-care, such as fun, or moments of abundant living, such as fun. So I do want people to recognize that sometimes being so busy, it then creates a sense of guilt where you don't feel as if you can stop doing whatever you're doing, because now you're tied to this timeline, time clock, or a goal that may not have any personal meaning for you anymore. So again, one of the challenges to having fun is it's no longer valuable to you because you have other things that you have to focus on. And a lot of moms feel this guilt as well. So it's like mommy guilt. Well, I can't take time to go to the
Mm-hmm.
spa, or I can't take time to do this because I need to be home taking care of my family and taking care of the kids. And then what happens is you get harried and frustrated and stressed out, and then you may gain weight just because of stress hormones, and then you're going to feel unattractive, then you're going to eat more because then you're feeling unattractive, and it creates this whole cycle of personal dissatisfaction because you just simply didn't take the time out to have fun at least once a week, once a month, or even 10 minutes a day, a break to yourself. So
Yes.
that's something to think about.
Yeah, totally. I mean, the mom guilt thing is for real.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I can definitely attest to falling into some of those patterns that you just described for sure. So,
Mm-hmm. And also, if you're like an overachiever or a type A personality, such as ourselves, it's hard to rationalize fun because you also get a lot of pleasure out of achieving. And so one reason why it was so difficult for me to actually do the fun challenge and why it took us 2.5 weeks to actually do it is because I really do have I really do have flow and I have enjoyment out of the work that I do. But I'm also, admittedly a nerdy overachiever. And sometimes my goal or my need to achieve and to see outcomes, it can then make you focus on that and being productive rather than having a quality of life. And so that I had to recognize, like, wow, it's really taking us a long time to do this, having fun challenge. And then I had to rationalize, okay, let me make sure I just go ahead and do this and so I can get it done. And so, so I can be productive in achieving fun, which is the counterintuitive of having fun if you're doing it to make sure you're achieving a goal. But that's what I had to do, to get me there. And also, of course, the work that I do as far as crisis management, and there's a lot of crises happening and, political advisement. It's not always as easy. But then I also had to recognize that I'm helping people get out of a crisis or resolve a crisis, and they definitely have no problem going back to their lives or doing whatever they're doing. And yet I'm the one, which of course is what I'm paid to do. But I find it easier for me to just continue and to make sure I'm taking care of everything and not taking care of myself. And so I thought that was a good lesson from this. Even if you are the problem solver, then you do need to also focus on taking care of yourself.
Yes, yes, I totally
Yeah.
agree with that. And
Yeah.
this was a really good exercise.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Great
And
idea, Dr. Olysha, the educator.
was it my idea?
Yes, it was.
Oh,
I would have never thought about doing a fun challenge.
well, I had fun doing the fun challenge. But anyway,
Mm-hmm.
are yeah, so are we ready to talk about the
I'm
fun
ready. I'm
challenges?
ready. Okay, so everyone, we each gave each other three fun challenges, and the other person had to choose the fun challenge and then report back what it was. So this is our first time actually seeing or hearing what the other person chose and how it went. So to Dr. Olysha, I gave you these three challenges. And one was to have a girls' night in for 2 hours with at least two of your female friends. The second one was a wine tasting and dinner with your hubby. And the third option was to have a free makeup or makeover at Nordstrom, Ulta, etc. Plus, obviously, a boba tea afterwards. So, which one did you choose?
Well, Dr. Renee. Wait, we
Mm-hmm.
need like a sound like what
Oh,
a
yeah. Can
there
you
you
hear
go.
that?
Yeah. I actually did two of them and combined a couple of
Oh,
things.
okay.
I'm
Into
an
the something.
overachiever.
I know. Of
Even
course, of
even with
course.
fun challenge, I'm an overachiever. Oh my God.
Yes, I think I have a similar story, but go ahead. Let me hear.
Okay, so the first thing that I did was I reached, so before, you remember, dear listeners, when I was down with COVID and we talked about
Oh,
COVID for a couple of
yes.
weeks. Well,
Mm-hmm.
right before that, I had planned with a couple of my friends to meet up for, wine and drinks and fun. And that got canceled, obviously. And that was back in
Mm-hmm.
February. So I immediately, once I saw your list, I reached out to them and said, hey, let's do a redo. Come to my house. We can hang out on my patio. And so they did it. So we arranged a time. Now it actually ended up being a little, I think it was rainy. So we ended up being inside, but we were all safe about it. But what the reason why I said I combined a couple of them is because I had actually just ordered some Italian wine.
Oh.
I got like some special deal, but so I had a few different types of wines to choose from that had like where they come from, like what their flavor profile was. So we basically opened
Oh.
3 bottles and had a wine tasting, and we had some
Oh,
snacks.
nice.
I got some sushi that we had and some
Mm.
yummy food, and we ended up hanging out for, geez, a few hours actually. It was a work night too, so I mean, clearly the three of us needed it, but it was so much
Yeah.
fun. It was a wonderful time with those lovely ladies. And so that was the first thing I did. So
Okay. So first, did you tell them this was your challenge that you had to do, and what did they say?
I did. I first I asked them if they wanted to hang out again, and then I said, just so you know, I'm doing this for my podcast too, like not
Mm-hmm.
just for the podcast because we already had tried to make plans. But because at first both of them were like, well, I'm a little bit busy right now, da da da. So we had to like figure out a time, which is hard. Both of them are working full time. I'm working full time. So that was, just the scheduling was a little funny, but we managed to find a good night. And yeah, I told them it was part of the podcast, and they didn't seem to mind about that because we just wanted to hang out. So it was
Mm-hmm.
great.
Oh, good, good, good.
Yeah. And they're really smart, accomplished women. And so it was, great to have conversations about all the stuff that we are talking about. So that was really nice.
Okay. Okay. So you'd combine the two, the girls' night in and the wine tasting. Okay.
Yep. So
Okay,
now
good.
the second thing that I did, because I was worried that the girls' night wasn't going to actually happen. So I had a backup plan. And so
Okay.
I said to my husband, hey, we haven't gone on a date night in a while.
Heavy, you're my backup plan for fun.
Oh, poor guy. No.
That's
And so
cute.
we found this place, it's called Nine Spice Cafe or something. It's a new,
Oh,
it's
it's
an
Indian.
no, it's an Asian restaurant,
Mm.
I believe Chinese, but it's new. I'd never heard of it before, so I said, hey, let's try something new. So
Mm-hmm.
he said, okay, let's do it. So our son went to grandma's house,
Oh,
and
nice.
so we went to this place. And so here's what it's like. You go
Okay.
in, and it's a hot pot place. So you
Okay.
tell them like what kind of meats you like, and you sit down at these
Mm-hmm.
tables that have burners on them, and then you pick a soup stock, and they bring a
Mm-hmm.
pot of soup to your table. So he had one and I had one. And then they
Mm-hmm.
have a conveyor belt that goes all around the restaurant
Oh, wow.
with
That sounds
different
nice.
different things you can add to your soup pot to cook.
Mm-hmm.
So and then you can order different. So we had shrimp and different kinds of meats. They do have a lot of vegetarian options. So there's tofu and different things
Okay.
like that. But there's fish and meat and chicken, things like that. And
Mm-hmm.
so yeah, we got to, it was a little hot because you're sitting there with the
A
pots
flaming, yeah, burnt Bunsen
boiling.
burner. Yeah.
But that they have, like, at the restaurant, they have the history of what these hot pots were, clay pots. I don't know what they were called,
Mm-hmm.
but apparently it was a part of the origin of it is that people would sit around doing this in the winter time because it also keeps them warm. So I
Oh,
I kept thinking about that because we were both sweating. I'm like,
yeah.
well, in Florida, you're blasting the AC and
Mm-hmm.
you're still sweating, and so that was really fun experience. And then the reason why I said I combined multiple ones is because they also had boba tea at that restaurant. So I was able to get boba tea for me, and I took one home for my son too. So that's that. Yeah. So I got boba tea and the nice meal with my
Mm.
husband.
Which flavor boba tea did you get
This was a couple weeks
a
ago.
couple weeks
So,
ago? What did you like it? Did you see what all the fuss was about? You're like, Renee keeps talking about this.
oh no, we love boba tea.
Oh, okay, okay. Oh,
Yeah.
you know that.
So,
Okay, yeah, I love
yeah.
it. Okay.
So Jules and I we sometimes we will go to the mall and get
Mm-hmm.
boba teas. They have a nice boba tea place there,
Mm-hmm.
and sometimes I'll purposely order food that can also provide boba teas, but it's usually
Yes.
for him. But this place, I think they just had the regular milk tea, and I think I got like we like the bursty bubbles, the
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
bursty boba, that like the
Yeah.
flavored
Oh,
ones.
yeah, yeah, the bubbles. Okay. Oh, good,
Yeah,
good, good. Yes, I love those. Well, that's
and
good. Go ahead.
the reason why I did not choose the free makeup makeover is because
Mm-hmm.
I don't really like going to the mall, which is where those places are.
Mm, right. Okay.
Um, I mean, sometimes I'll go, but and the boba tea is definitely at the mall, but It just didn't
Hmm.
seem as fun as the other two. So that's
As
why
yeah, that seems more fun. So it sounds like the nine spice with the pots also sounds like a, I guess like an Asian version of the fondue restaurant.
yeah, yeah,
Okay. Oh, that's really cool. Okay, that was good.
yeah.
All right. Well,
Uh, actually, it's called Nine Spices Fondue. So yes, you're exactly
nine
right.
spice. Oh, okay, okay.
Let's go on to your fun challenge choices. Should I tell them what I gave you?
Yes, you could do that.
Okay, so the first thing I said was to get Pokemon on your phone and go Pokemon hunting. The second one was to find a hiking trail and take a 30-minute hike in nature. And the third one was spa fun. So fill up your bath with bubbles, grab a glass of wine or your relaxing drink of choice, because I know that you like the
Hmm.
tea lattes and the boba. Light a
Yes.
candle and soak for at least 30 minutes. And if you wanted, play meditative music, and also chocolate was suggested but not required. So
It's
tell
always a
us,
requirement for me.
tell
All
us.
right. So I had some deviations because as soon as we had the fun challenge, I ended up having a out of state crisis that I was, had to be going to. So I didn't get a chance to do it until like a week later. And I didn't really get a chance to do any hiking, but I do love to walk and I also do love to go to the gym and everything. So
Mm-hmm.
what I ended up doing was kind of like number two. You said take a 30-minute hike in nature. Well, it was too cold for me to do anything in nature, but I did go to the gym and I had actually, I think like an hour walk on the treadmill. So usually I have my, Mondays and Wednesdays are leg days, Tuesday and Thursdays are, our upper body. And so I actually did um walking on Monday and Tuesday because I really enjoyed doing it. And I was listening to one of my Audible books. And I also, when I was done, went to Dairy Queen. And I had their off the menu chocolate covered strawberry blizzard. And I did not feel guilty about it Monday or Tuesday. So I did that and all by myself. So it was no mommy guilt involved. And then
Nice.
after that, I was like, you know what, this was really good, if I must say so myself. So I added kind of like the chocolate in there and the walking. But then it was also after that, it was spring break. And so what I did was still obviously helping, in crisis mode, but crisis kind of calming down was I didn't do my usual of, burning the midnight oil to make sure every little dot, I don't know, was in place and aligned. And
Mm-hmm.
so I actually just, at the hotel, just rested. And
Wow.
so, and I thought that was really good. And I made sure I had, good, food and went out. And that was really nice. It was kind of rainy, so I couldn't do so much, but at least I did that. And then when I came back, ergo, me being late today for my lavender latte, was I made sure I said, okay, what are the things that I actually really enjoy doing and can do? And so I made sure that I got the ladies' work schedule who makes the best lattes at Wegmans. And so she was going to be in today. So I had to make sure I got there, before her. And so doing that. And so that was beneficial to me. And then I also made sure to just not feel guilty for not doing work.
Hmm.
And so those were the kind of the things. It wasn't like anything like goo gobs of fun, but I did do that. And then you had mentioned the spa fun. And so
Mm-hmm.
the reason why I didn't do the spa fun is because I don't like to take baths.
Mm.
I'm just more of a shower person. Not going to grab a glass of wine because I have a very low tolerance, and that would be a big,
I
I
know
don't know,
you
a
talk
big
about
catastrophe.
you talk about what would happen with the wine every episode, pretty
Oh,
much.
I do. Because it's such an event. Yes. I mean, it's very good for the audience, but not good for if you're actually in person with me. So, but when you mentioned light a candle, I do always have a candle when I take a shower and I have the lights off in the bathroom. And that's because I don't know if the audience is aware, but I had a double spontaneous retina detachment in 2020.
Ugh,
And
that sounds
so
awful.
it was extremely, I was on bed rest for 4 months. And let's see, for maybe like, so that's like on 4 months, it was so much excruciating pain that even getting up, even actually taking a shower was very hurtful because
Mm.
imagine having these your eye surgeries, done. It's a very intensive surgery. And I actually had to have 3 surgeries. So I
Mm.
was in constant pain and on narcotics, but having the shower before I would take my medicine was actually helping to just calm my body down. And also because everything was so bright and I had to wear these special glasses so I wouldn't have any light coming in. Having the lights turned off and only having the candlelight was not only helpful for just my eyes to be able to just practice being open again, but also it helped me to not trigger a headache from any kind of light. And even though my eyes are healing now, I still do that because I
Mm.
felt like, wow, that was such a relaxing experience that I
Hmm.
could just enjoy every day. And then I also have added in, you can have these thing called bath or shower steamers, and you put
Mm-hmm.
those inside your shower. And so it's also like homeopathic sensory relaxation. So that has become something that I do every day or twice a day if I'm doing an extra workout. So I do that. And I felt like I'm going to continue doing this and I'm going to continue buying these $30 candles because they smell so good, but also because they help me every day to have a way to relax. And now because I have like a little, it's called a buckler, a scleral buckler around my eyeball.
Mm-hmm.
Then if I don't relax, then my eye can get more inflamed, and then that'll trigger an eye ache, which would then trigger a headache,
Wow.
which would then quickly go into a migraine. And so now I feel as if I'm being forced to relax and being forced to not have screen time, like you mentioned, for the Facebook and social media. Like I can't do a lot of like
Mm-hmm.
up and down with my eye movements. And so for many people who, if you're like myself, if you're an overachiever, having mommy guilt or a type A person, it's hard to just feel like it's okay to relax. And
Mm-hmm.
unfortunately, I had to have a medical situation which
Right.
forced me to relax and forced me to have self-care. And so as an overachiever, I can rationalize, okay, I need to make sure that my body stays calm and I need to make sure I'm still doing my exercises so I can keep my body in a relaxed state. So that even if I'm doing a crisis work, my body is not such in a adrenaline mode that my eye now gets inflamed and then I have a headache that goes on for 5 days, or I
Oh
have an
man.
eye ache and then my eye hurts so much like nothing can help it. And so I was able to justify self-care, but not necessarily having fun. Because again, self-care is, of course, something I can justify for being more productive and fun. Then I realized, okay, well, once I'm still relaxing and I'm having fun and making it, then it's just, if nothing else, it's an ability to just have a higher quality of life. And then
Mm-hmm.
I also recognize that, I need to be able to, I'm helping other people have higher quality of lives, improving their corporations, their cultures, their lifestyle, improving the lives of communities and states. So I too should do that and not put so much on myself that I don't have fun. And so I thought this was a very excellent example of what you said. So one, the Pokemon, obviously I couldn't do a whole bunch of
Yeah.
flicking up and down with my eyes. And then two, about the spa. So I've been doing that all the time. And so I guess that's it for what I actually did.
I have to say I've actually tried the shower what do you call them? The shower
The
fizzers or
shower
whatever.
fizzles, yeah.
Yeah.
The
And
steamers.
the steamers, yeah, that's right.
Mm-hmm.
I got some eucalyptus ones or something
Oh. Mm-hmm.
and I did kind of similar to what you did. It was like had I just took I made the bathroom dark and maybe had a
Mm-hmm.
candle. I can't, yeah, I think I had a candle, but I used the
Mm-hmm.
shower because I actually don't have a bathtub in my new owner's,
Mm-hmm.
um, the
In the
owner's
primary room.
room. And there's, yeah, so now
Mm-hmm.
it's just a walk-in shower, which is nice. So
Mm-hmm.
that's why I got the steamer because I thought, okay, if I can't take a bath, I'll try this. And
Mm-hmm.
it was really pleasant. It was very comfy.
Yeah.
Soaking
I
in.
really enjoy them. And I sometimes I feel like sometimes the little steamers go away too fast. So well, that's where I felt if you have like a very strong scented candle that's all
Mhm.
natural or oil based, that helps it to kind of like have the candle, and also the oils from the candle can then help fill up the room. And those are definitely very helpful as well.
Cool. Well, I
So
think
I
that
usually
sounds
do.
nice. It sounds like you had some time challenges, which I know you and I
Mm-hmm.
talked about. So you made the best of it with the
Yes.
resources and time that you had. So
Yeah. And I think that it was easier to force myself to do because I saw, okay, well, week one went by, I didn't do it. Week two went by, so I didn't do it. So I don't know if we didn't have the podcast to do and just to report back and feeling accountable to our audience, like how much longer would I have delayed having fun if I didn't have to, make sure I'm doing my, performance and, doing the in-person research for the podcast. So I think that even if it's us or our listeners, try to make yourself accountable to doing it at least once a month and using that rather than just keep delaying, delaying, delaying. And even like in a crisis mode, I was able to force myself to do it. So you were able to do it, Dr. Olysha, with running a campaign and being a mommy and wife. So you had a lot going on as well. So if we could do
yeah.
it, then everyone, you could definitely do it.
And that brings us to the provoking actions because
Yes.
actually, the same author that I talked about before, she made a few recommendations that I actually think are really smart. So I'll start with those.
Okay.
The first one is to find your fun magnets. So those are
Mm.
activities, people, and settings that inspire you to have fun. So like I mentioned, the throwing a ball with your dog, if you have a dog, like if your dog in their innocent happiness inspires fun, and
Mm-hmm.
you know find those fun magnets. And like the my two friends that came over, they're my fun magnets. So we
Mm.
doesn't matter how long it's been since we've seen each other, we can immediately jump into a fun conversation and drink wine and have fun.
That's
Um,
good.
yeah, and the second one is to put it on your calendar. So
Mm-hmm.
intention is everything. I somebody told me once, you can't make time, you have to take the time.
That's right. That's right.
So instead of just like you were saying, you had this sort of deliverable,
Mm-hmm.
which is really analyze this maybe a little bit, but um, you had to report back, so you had to do the fun thing. So
Right.
another way that someone could approach this is to just, like you said, find a time every month. So even if that's to add it to your work calendar so that you get a reminder,
Mm-hmm.
or whatever it might be, or make a date with someone so that you're accountable to that person. If you cancel on
Mm-hmm.
them, then
Mm-hmm.
you're kind of not just letting yourself down, but you're letting your fun magnet down.
Right. That's a good
Uh,
one.
yeah. So I'd say put it on your calendar, make sure you take the time. And then you can also find fun in small doses. So it doesn't have to be a long, time consuming activity, but it could be like something like randomly calling a friend you haven't talked to in a while,
Mm-hmm.
or
Mm-hmm.
taking a short walk, like you were talking about,
Mm-hmm.
throwing the ball with your dog, or, having a pillow fight with your kid, or, like short bursts of fun can also be very powerful.
Yes, yes, definitely. And as far as goal achievement, it's the same thing. You may not be able to have a 10-point goal achieved in 10 days, but you can also celebrate your small accomplishments, your smaller objectives. So this is similar with fun. If fun is the ultimate objective to increase your quality of life and life satisfaction and also health, then it may just be those little small bursts, like you were saying, the small daily doses. Um, so
And that also goes back, I think, I don't remember which episode it was we talked about this, but that book I read about atomic habits.
oh
So,
yeah.
if you start to regularly have these, even if they're micro doses of
Mm-hmm.
fun, then they just start they just start to become habitual. So then you're incorporating fun in your life because you've built it as a habit. So
Right.
um, I mean, I think about my one of my very solid atomic habits is my pill that I have to take every morning.
Mm.
It's like an automatic thing. I don't even think about it. It's to the point where I'm sometimes like, wait, actually take it because I don't
Right,
even
right.
recall doing it, but I know that I have.
That you took it. Okay, good, good,
Yeah,
good.
so like it becomes just a part of my routine to the point where, and I'm actually starting this. We adopted a new dog a
Oh,
couple weeks ago, and
oh.
she's a different kind of dog than we usually have. She's a bigger dog and she really needs activity. So I've been
Mm-hmm.
every morning taking her on a walk. My son, when he comes home from school, takes her on a walk. We take her on a walk in the evening, but it's getting us out there. It's getting us to
Yeah,
move and to be active. And that's going to become a habit, you know?
yeah. And I think like the same thing, like with me, working out is has become a habit because after I had the eye surgery, well, I used to always work out before, but then when you're
Mm-hmm.
a mommy, you're always like, okay, I need to make sure I'm doing this. And if you're breastfeeding and all that, then that takes a lot of time. And you're like, now you're too tired to do anything. And then if I have clients who need me, and then I recognize that, you know, I will be more tired, not able to go to sleep as well. But then after I had
Mm-hmm.
the eye surgery, I recognized that I have to, otherwise my body is holding up so much stress that I'm getting
Mm-hmm.
constant headaches because of the little thing, you know, around my eye. So physically, I have evidence, again, the scientist, physically, I have evidence that my body is in such a state of adrenaline storage that's causing inflammation that if I don't take care of it. So now that's become a habit, even if I am in crisis, you know, mode. So I would encourage people to start a healthy habit now. And you could do a micro
Mm-hmm.
dose, as you said, of 15 minutes or 10 minutes a day of just something that's just fun for you. One small action would be to, whenever you're taking a lunch break, one, make sure you take a lunch break. And two, take the lunch break and don't answer phone calls, but listen to like an audible book
Mm-hmm.
or listen to
Yeah.
quiet, calming music and not on the social media, which again can cause the influx of emotions. But from a psychological provoking action, I would encourage you to engage in introspection. Introspection is the practice of looking inside yourself, examining your thoughts and your own behaviors and the possible rationale for why you're acting or thinking in a certain way. And so, like with myself, I had to do introspective action. Okay, well, what makes it so difficult for me to have fun? Or what
Mm-hmm.
makes it so much easier for me to work 24/7, you know? So my thinking would then might be something of yours. So you would then think about what's making me so resistant to having fun. Am I believing that it's easier to be productive rather than to have a quality of life? Or is my whole life focused on being productive and being whatever your role is, a mommy, you know, crisis manager, an educator, a scientist,
Mm-hmm.
whatever that could be, you know, a father, a soccer coach, whatever that may be, is your life focused on just that one thing and you place more importance on that, that you don't think about an abundant life as having multiple areas in which I am receiving enjoyment, progress, and growth, and not just the one area. And taking care of your health is part of that. And
Mm-hmm.
having fun gives you a chance to do that. And think about marathon runners. So often, if you are focusing on not being able to have fun or choosing to not have fun when you do your introspective examinations, then it might be because you're rationalizing that, well, I just need to just get this one more thing done. I just need to get this one more thing done. And when you
Right.
do that, you're not thinking about, but if I am trying to focus on running a marathon with getting this one more thing and one more thing else done, that I'm in a constant marathon mode. But marathon runners are physically not able to continue that as if they were long distance runners. And so the same thing when you're applying it to your life. You may have moments of running a marathon, but then still stop and take a break. Don't make your whole schedule and your whole life routine to be one of a constant marathon, which will then cause you to have higher stress, higher physical complications. So
Mm-hmm.
still take your breaks and have the self care to be part of a long distance runner life of productivity and growth, and then allowing ample time to still have room to have fun and to have those self care moments. So those were one of the things. And then think about, what does living abundantly look like? So there's four core areas of abundance. And so it's focusing on financial wealth and growth, spirituality, physical health, and also being able to have your social relationships. So in those 4 areas, focus on doing at least one of those things, if not a week, then one thing every other week, but focusing on at least one of those things out of the 4 weeks of the month to live life more abundantly and not just productively.
And you know how at the top of the episode, when I mentioned that there are all of these things that are happening that
Mm-hmm.
could possibly make one feel really hopeless or like
Mm-hmm.
guilty if I go and enjoy life while others are suffering.
Mm-hmm.
One thing I
Yeah.
would say to that is that, because I think fun, like you're saying, it does equate to self-care.
Mm-hmm.
And if we don't have our health, which, self-care, like you were mentioning about all the health issues you
Right.
were having, which forced you to slow down and forced you to
Right.
address, self-care. If you don't have your health and your well-being in place, then it's hard to be able to go out and do things like campaign or be a crisis
That's right.
counselor or
That's
whatever it is
right.
that you're trying to do to change the world. So
That's right.
even though it may feel it feels it can feel weird to try to focus
Mm-hmm.
on having fun, we need it,
Mm-hmm.
you
Yeah.
know?
Speaking of which, I'm on the National Board for Human Trafficking.
Mhm.
And I remember when I was in my sexual trauma residency for my doctoral program, I remember, of course, being still type A, working around the clock. I ended up getting sick because I felt so guilty for how can I go and have fun or go and do whatever when I have women waiting back, with me for me at the VA who are
Mm.
going through, who have gone through extreme sexually traumatic experiences, or how can I help, people. I'm on one call talking about the number of children that have been trafficked and, kidnapped and stolen, and then go out and have a latte. Like it seems so kind of like selfish and guilty and irresponsible. And then I had to recognize, like what you said, it's not that it's being selfish or irresponsible, but it's a requirement and it is a higher level of responsibility, recognizing that I need to fuel up my resources again to be at my
Mhm.
best to
Exactly.
go back out and help the world. So I
Yes.
hope those examples also help other people that no matter the high level of work you may be doing, you're a mommy or you're the president of the world, you have to still focus on if your mind is relaxed, your body is relaxed because you're engaging in self-care at least once a week for 30 minutes, then you'll be that much better physically and psychologically to do a higher quality job to help that many more people.
Mhm. And that, I think I talked about this in a former episode as well, but after I don't remember when it was, but I was
Mm-hmm.
definitely, oh yeah, before the holidays, I was definitely overworked, overstressed, feeling
Mm-hmm.
overwhelmed. And then I forced myself to step away, shut down the computer, the work, everything
Mm-hmm.
political, and I just took 2 weeks.
Oh, good for you.
Yeah, and I mean, we didn't travel or do anything, but I just was here. I was present.
Mm-hmm.
Joel, my son,
Mm-hmm.
and I did stuff together. I just laid around on the couch and read books, things like that. And
Mm-hmm.
I needed to fill my cup a little bit, and
Yeah.
that actually gave me the energy to actually commit to running a campaign again. So,
Yeah.
and I'm trying to remind myself of these lessons as I go
That's
through
good.
this busy time as well.
So, one of the things, as you mentioned, for being present. So, of course, everyone knows that hopefully everyone knows that in my line of journals from Journal Smarter, hashtag Journal Smarter, one of them is a 30-night couples challenge. And part of that is based off of my experience with doing sexual therapy for marital couples. And so, usually it's women, in order for women to enjoy sex more with their husbands and to have a higher, more pleasurable state of orgasm, is to be in the moment. And so, like you said, you were just there and you weren't focusing on anything else. You weren't focusing on the laundry or whatever. And so, the same thing is, women, if you want to increase your sexual pleasure and increase not only the number of orgasms, but also the intensity of the pleasure, is to when you are making love, then just making sure that you are in a fully present state. You're not thinking about responsibilities. You're not thinking about anything else that you have to just hurry up and get it over with so you can go back on to, doing your other mommy guilt things that you're focusing on. Just focusing on just enjoying every sensate experience, and what your skin feels like, what your partner's body feels like. Just focus on just doing that. And another key tip is to focus on your vagina and your clitoris. Hopefully this is not too much. But you're focusing on just focusing on your whole mind on enjoying every sensation in your vagina, in your clitoris, or if you have vaginal orgasms, focusing completely on your whole body as a place of pleasure, and not what your cellulite looks like, not what other obligations you need to just hurry up and get this over with. So the more that you enjoy it, the more that your husband and partner will enjoy it. And then that can increase your bond for you to want to do it again. And of course, sexual satisfaction is positively linked to marital satisfaction. So just a little tidbit on experiencing, sensate focusing, and then just completely, having more fun, and add that to your fun challenge.
I've
And you
also
can
heard
enjoy
that
that
they
as well.
have CBD oils that you can use
Oh, yes, yes,
help
yes.
relax, and especially
Yes.
for older women who,
Yes,
may have
like the
sensitivity.
vaginal massage
Yeah,
oils. Yes, they do have those. Yes, that
and
would be something. Yeah, since it
and so
was 420 yesterday.
yeah. Yeah, and they also have suppositories that you can use for if
Mm-hmm.
you're a more vaginal person.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
just another little tip there.
See, we just do it all up in provocative conversations.
Yes, of course.
So those are some examples. And also we do have 20 fun challenges on our website and social media. So we're going to challenge every one of you to try at least one of these by the end of April, and then just let us know how it went. And be sure to tag us or DM us so we can follow you. And we would just love to hear about your improvement in life and being able to have fun.
We want you all to have some fun. We want you to fill up your cuppeth
That's
and
right.
do all these things so you can conquer the world with us.
That's right. That's right.
Well, Dr. Renee, it's been fun talking about fun, and I hope that you, dear listeners, can try some of those challenges and let us know how it goes.
Yes, we'd love to hear it. We are your provocateurs. I'm Dr. Renee.
And I'm Dr. Olysha.
Be informed, be entertained, be provoked. I have another example, but let me know. Should we say it? It's a sexual example. Is that too much?
You're always talking about.
Only because you said laying there, and I was like, this is a great example of what I used to do for sexual therapy. Should I say it or not?
You can say it, and then if we don't want to keep it,
we can just edit it out. Okay.